Hi, welcome back to class. This is decision making class. This class is about making decisions. I'll be covering three core things: how to build your high point, your decision circle, and your decision circle of influence. If you're going to be in the coaching program, you will see these circles and these designs at work. Also, it will be available in the download area for you to download the PDF and see what it looks like and also feel which parts of this affects you. Okay, going to your high point, which is the number one. At the base of every decision is frustration. Every new decision. If you are not frustrated or tired of your present normal, you really don't have the enthusiasm to go upward. Because as humans, we run towards pleasure and we run away from pain. But most times, growth is outside your comfort zone, meaning growth is always in the jurisdiction of pain. Growth is not always in pleasure. I mean, if I want to lose weight, for example, growth will not be in my kitchen. When I say it won't be in my kitchen, I mean it won't be in me blending all the yogurts I can find with all the everything I can think of. No, that's not how it works. If I'm going to be in my kitchen, it's going to possibly be me checking portions, eating more greens, taking care of myself, going to the gym. Can you see the workload is increasing? It's different from when I sleep, wake up, go to the kitchen, take out ice cream from my freezer, take out bananas, take out even when we say we eat fruits, we don't really want fruit. We want to feel like we ate fruit because when people say they make fruit salad, but the yogurt portion is more than all the fruits combined. They're just trying to convince themselves that oh no, it's fruit, it's healthy. But you just ate too much. You just ate way too much. And you tell yourself that it's okay to overfeed because I mean it's fruit. Excuse me? See, that is you chasing pleasure. But growth is always outside your comfort zone. It's not comfortable to go to the gym, except for people who are gym rats and coach. You know what I mean? Hardly do people just wake up and say, "Oh, I want to go to the gym and suffer myself today." Nah, go lift weight, run on the treadmill, do whatever else you want to do at the gym. It's not exciting. It's not. Except you're very health conscious. And that was a decision over a period of time. So, how do decisions start? Frustration. And that's why when people come for therapy and they say things like, I'm frustrated, I'm like, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you that you're frustrated. Because if you're not frustrated, you are not going to live where you are. Frustration is a sign that you are ready for your next level. Frustration is a sign that you are done with being in your comfort zone and you're willing to put in the work. Because if you are not frustrated enough, the second thing that will happen is that when you make a little bit of progress, you always feel like, oh, I've done so much. I think I should rest a bit. You will go to the gym for 5 minutes and be like, I walked out today, I've tried. This is where you are deserving of this bottle of Coke. I see people do that thing all the time. I mean, all you did was take a 30-minute walk and you're deserving of a bottle of Coke to replace what? What? Like, Coke of all things to drink. Coke. Really? And it's not even just Coke, it's any carbonated drink. It's how people tell themselves, I have done so much and I'm deserving of a self sabotaging gift. Hear how that sounded? I have tried really hard, so I deserve to self sabotage. That's what you just said. But the reason you will pick a self sabotaging behavior is because, well, it's something you can manage. You can manage this life a bit. You can manage being obese a bit. You can manage being sick a bit. You can manage being broke a bit. That's why you are willing to flaunt money for people you don't care about. Or you're willing to say, oh, there's no job out there, so I'm just going to sit down here. Or there's no this out there. You're willing to self sabotage because you're not frustrated where you are. Where you are is still comfortable. I know somebody's telling me, no, Lisa, it's hard. I don't like my life right now. If you don't like your life right now and you're not willing to put in the work, it means your life is not hard enough. I'm sorry, but that's fact. Because if it's hard enough, if it's frustrating enough, then you want to get out of there. I'm not talking to people who are depressed. No. I'm talking to people who know they can do more. People who know they can really do more, but they are just comfortable. They know they can do more. You know you can do more with your business finances. You know you have the capacity to triple your present source of income. You know it's that you have the capacity to be consistent. I know you've convinced yourself over the years that I'm not a very consistent person. Nobody is a consistent person. Nobody was born with consistency. Everybody learned. On top of frustration is wish. You know you've met people in this category, and sometimes you are that person. Sometimes I'm that person. I just don't stay here long enough. I don't stay at wish long enough. You're frustrated. I wish somebody would just send me money. I wish I can just go to the office now and create a project that will make my boss give me a subdivision and they will increase my salary. I wish I can just go to the gym. I wish I can just gain some weight. I've seen people who want to really gain weight. Like they are so small, they are almost anorexic and they need to eat, they need to get healthier. So they need to get a diet to help them eat. And all they do year in, year out, every time I meet them is, "Ah, I wish I can just get fat. I wish I can just." No, you won't get fat by wishing it. You won't lose weight by wishing it. You won't build a business by wishing it. There is an integral work to it. And that's what we're doing at strategic visioning. We're not just wishing. They used to say if wishes were horses, beggars will ride. And so people say they will play polo. Stop wishing. You can't just wish. Because the problem with staying and wishing too long is that you will believe frustration is normal. If you stay and wishing too long, I mean, the situation is frustrating. You are frustrated and you want to get out of it, but you wish for something else, which is a great place to be because by the time you start wishing, you start dreaming. Remember our last class? You start dreaming, which is good for you. But if all you do is just dream and wish, my life, I wish, if that's all you do, you after a while you start telling yourself that, beg, this thing doesn't, it won't really change. I've been here since the last 2 years. I've been wishing for this admission for this. I've been wishing this business will work. I've been wishing. No, 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 no. On top of which, you need to do something. You need to get strategic. You need to define your bottom line. So, frustration, wish, bottom line. I know you're wondering, bottom line, why is it in the middle? Because this is where you start rising from. This is the middle where you start rising from. Okay. Your bottom line is the minimum requirement you give yourself for your next phase. It is the minimum requirement you give yourself. Bad as a bad rich, I must lose 10 kg in 3 months. That's a bottom line. Bad as a bad rich, our finances must hit 1 million naira within certain duration. That's a bottom line goal. I must go back to school. I must get at least a WAEC result. I must at least get a degree. Even if I don't get a master's in business administration, I must at least get a degree so that I can communicate this idea. Or if I don't need to get a degree, I must at least get a certification in finance so that I can start taking care of my business finance better, so that I can know what my accountant is doing. At least, your bottom line is your at least. It is the place that you have no excuse to give yourself. I have no excuse. For me, there was a period in my life where my at least was that I must spend 8 hours at my business, come what may. I must spend 8 hours with my business between checking my books, looking at clients, speaking to old clients, getting reviews, getting new clients. I must spend a minimum of 8 hours looking at my business operations. And that was why, for those of you who will be at the next coaching call, or for those of you who have been at any of the other coaching calls, you will know that we have a document called Hierarchy of Priorities. It is in this one you're downloading. Don't worry if you've not seen it. Your hierarchy of priorities is the order of how you spend your time, your money, and your energy. I had left my business to go cater to someone else's business, burned myself out. Their project didn't work. My business was abandoned, and I was cashless in the middle of all of this. And I sat and said to myself, no, this is not going to happen again. Here is my bottom line. What's your bottom line? For 2023, what's your bottom line? What's that one goal? Or what are those few goals? What are those few things you're setting in place and saying, oh, okay, I know I don't like my life right now. Why don't I like my life right now? I wish I can just have more money. So, bottom line is, I must have at least 10,000 naira savings every month. That was my bottom line at some point. It was that at the end of that year, I was going to have a nameless, that was the name of the savings. The savings account was a nameless account. That was what I called it. I had no goals for the finance. I had nothing for it. I was just saving it. Because I woke up and realized at that phase of my life, I had no spare cash anywhere. If anything was to happen to my business or anything was to happen to my personal inflow, I had no money anywhere. So I told myself, I was like, you know what? Whatever happens, whether you don't make money in the month, freelance or company or whatever, whether you make money or not, you must save 10,000. That is a bottom line. What that did to me is that I started asking myself, okay, so how do I make extra 10K? How do I make extra 20K? Because that 10K grew. This takes us to the next level. Vision, guys. Vision. Now that you know your bottom line, the bottom line is that you must have 100,000, say, in the next 3 months in your savings. Vision is now, must have I must have 100,000 in 3 months. Okay, that's a vision now. Okay, so goals. How do I make, is it 30,000 or 35,000 every month? Or make 100,000 once? Or make 10,000 10 times in the next 12 weeks? That means I have to make 10,000 per week and have 2 weeks break before or after. I prefer the break after, please. I would rather fire my cylinders from the beginning. Vision. The reason many of us don't have vision is because we are living at a wish level. I wish, and then you go and sleep. You don't have a baseline. You don't have a bottom line that come what may, I will not make an excuse about this. There are certain things that are part of my priority, that are part of my bottom line, that when I don't do them, I can't sleep because I haven't done them. For you, it might be reading for 30 minutes. If you, whatever happens to you, whether you had a long day, a 2 a.m. to 2 a.m. day, or you had a long week, whatever happens, those things must be done. In my career path, it was that I must help people. I'm going to go to school and I'm going to help people. So here's what I did. Here's what I did at the time. I couldn't afford my big master course. I couldn't afford it. So what I started doing was that I started taking short courses. When I take it, I use it. I take it, I use it. As much as I hadn't gotten my master's yet, I was becoming an expert on the field because I wasn't sitting down saying, oh, I wish somebody would just pay for my master's. Or oh, I'm going to set a goal and I'm going to have my master's in 1 year. Yes, I did set that goal, but that didn't happen. But because I had a bottom line, it was easy for me to know what I cannot manage, what I cannot live without. What I cannot live without is being an uneducated therapist. What I cannot live with, rather, is being an uneducated therapist. What I cannot live without is not helping people. at that phase because that's what I said I wanted to do. In doing all of these things, I found myself back in styling, which was something I used to do as a child. I had a mental breakdown at some point, and then I had to start styling again. And then my hand had to touch something. And then, oh, okay, so now the business became two. But I would never have returned there if I didn't make a move on the first one. See what I was telling you in your last class, that clarity comes with actions. And then on top of your vision is your high points. I know you like this part. This is where you're on the mountaintop, you're smashing your goals, you're being a consistent person, you're being disciplined. People are seeing you and say, oh, Lisa, I love the way you do this and I love the way you do that. But what they don't know was that there was a process. Frustration, wish, bottom line, vision. Now that you have vision, you are putting in the discipline required. If I show you my mobile phone right now, my mobile phone has about 6 or 7 alarms. One of them says wake up, one of them says eat breakfast. I have an alarm that says eat breakfast because when I have work to do in the morning, I tend to forget to eat in the morning. And sometimes I get into work and I haven't eaten as a lunch break. And lunch break, I'm not standing up. By the time I'm eating about 3, 4 in the afternoon, my stomach hurts. So I told myself, no, we're not just going to be disciplined with work, we're also going to be disciplined with health. So I set an alarm that says eat breakfast at 8:30 in the morning. I have an alarm that says shut down your computer. Yes, I have a shut down your computer alarm. Many times I snooze it, but I know to do it. I know. I'm not going to wish that I had more self control with work. I'm going to put in discipline. You know what? I have a vision to not just be wealthy, but to be well. I don't just want to be a boss. I don't just want to have money. I want to have my health intact. 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, I don't want to be this rich person who burned out. I had a mental breakdown 2 years ago because I burned out. I didn't take care of myself. And here's the interesting thing about getting to your high point. You return to frustration again because that level, you stay on it until you stay on it, you grow on it, and then you realize this can be all. Then you go again. The cycle goes back again. It goes back again. So don't think, oh, I'm just going to push through this and I'm just going to manage. And when I'm done, I'm done. Nah, you go back again. This takes me to your decision circle. At the center of the circle is you. See how terrible this looks. See. This was my rough draft before I made your documents that you're going to download. This is you in the middle. You are in the middle of the circle, right? This is the version of you that dreams. This is the version of you that you can't even tell people about because it sounds stupid. I mean, I'm thinking the way that ego is moving. What if human beings can move like an ego? You sound stupid to the average person. So the dreaming you, the dreamer version of you, is not the version of you you want to share. Because if you share it too soon, people will kill the dream. Not because they hate you, but because they can't comprehend it. Understand that people don't hate your vision, they just can't comprehend it. It's as simple as that. Some of you will share your dreams with me, and I'll be confused, literally. And if I share my dreams with some of you, you're going to look at me like, I know this girl is cuckoo in the head. I just didn't know it was this bad. Okay? So that's the dreamer version of you. But on top the dreamer version of you is the emotional version of you. This is the version of you that is still struggling, is uncertain. Okay? Sorry. Inner version of you is the emotional you. That's the one that was frustrated. And then the next version of you is the dreamer version of you. And even that one, you can't share. The emotional version of you is confused, is frustrated, is uncertain what to do. The dreamer version of you is beginning to have clarity because they're beginning to hope. They're beginning to wish. They're beginning to imagine. That side of you is beginning to wonder, what more? That side of you is becoming filled with awe at the possibilities. This is the side of you that sees possibilities. That's the dreamer version of you. And you don't want to share it too soon. In fact, people can relate to the emotional you than they can relate to the dreamer version of you. They can relate to you that hit rock bottom. They can relate to the version of you that does not know what to do because they don't know what to do. They can relate to the version of you that is frustrated because, I mean, the economy is frustrating them as well. Life isn't working in some way or form. So certain people can relate to the emotional you. But you see the dreamer version of you, you had better be in the dreamland before you share that side of you. Because now you're beginning to lift your head above what's normal. You're beginning to step into uncharted territory. You're beginning to see possibility. The world is suddenly beginning to have more color to you. All right. Then on top of the dreamer version of you is the intentional you. This is the version of you that's beginning to say, oh, I'm going to put in the work. This version of you doesn't even necessarily have to do the work immediately. This version of you just has to decide. You see why this class is about decision making? You have to decide that, okay, I'm going to eat healthy going forward. That's the intentional you. The intentional me, I think it was midnight. I think I set the alarm around midnight. I was doing something else. And it just occurred to me that you ate once today, right? You ate just once today. And I picked up my phone and I set an alarm. That was the intentional me at work. I didn't necessarily have to go to the kitchen to cook that midnight, but I could set an alarm to make sure I ate the next morning. That's the intentional you. I don't have to have the money to go to school, but I can write it down. I can say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to document. So let me introduce you to the intentional me when I was 18. And I have plenty of these. I found my diary. I think this was 18 or yeah, 18 thereabouts. I found my diary between I think a week after my 19th birthday. And one of the pages said, nobody owes me anything, not even my parents. And I signed it and put the date under it. Will my parents pay my school fee? Yes. Will my parents take care of me? Absolutely. But will I sit down and hope my parents will figure out what I should do with the rest of my life? Certainly not. Do my parents have ideas based on my personality and the things they've provided and the experiences they think I've had? Yes. But will they do the hard work of seeing the results for me? No. So the intentional you doesn't make excuses like, oh, it's because I don't have money, or it's because the job hasn't come through. The intentional you will create a CV for 5 different job roles. That's intentionality. I can be in the digital media space, I can be in regular media, TV speaking, being an OAP or being a TV presenter. I was a newscaster at some point temporarily for 3 months. I have a CV as a digital media person. I'm not submitting it anywhere. I have a CV as a media person. You want me to do run interviews, you want to have me on your media team as a communications director. I have a CV for that. I have a digital media CV. I have a CV as a therapist. Yet I'm not submitting any of them. I'm taking courses in this field not because I need to do anything major in digital media, but I love digital media a lot. I use tech in all of my businesses. All of my businesses are tech inclined. So I still make sure I take a few classes around tech. I still make sure I take classes around speaking and around communication. I still take up volunteering jobs. I'm the lead interviewer for a magazine. I'm stepping down this year to hand over to the next person, but I am still in the role. While I have been in that role for over 1 year and I'm launching out my own media place, my webzine for my style, guess what? I took a 50-hour course about being a TV presenter. Did I have to? No. The average person will say, well, I already have the opportunity. Why am I? Why am I? That's because you are not intentional. You're not intentional enough. If all you have if all you will ever be is what you are right now, then possibly where you will always be is where you're standing right now. If you have intentions to grow, then you must be intentional with your life. If you hope to grow, if you wish for it, if you dream about it, you must be intentional. Some of you need to go and speak to your accountability partner and tell your accountability partner that my problem is keeping to time. Let your accountability partner keep your schedule. My friend asked me to be her alarm last year for a certain activity. I set an alarm on my phone that says, tell so 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 person to go and do so and so. So I set an alarm for 9 p.m. When the alarm rings in my house, the people in my house tell me it's time for you to remind so person to do so thing. That's accountability. So you might need to go and meet your accountability partner and let them know, okay, I have this problem. That's intentionality. Now I'm moving on to the struggling you. Now you've become intentional. You've written those CVs. You've applied for the jobs and the jobs didn't come through. You've applied for those degrees, those courses, those whatever, and the money didn't come or the admission didn't come through. You say, oh, okay, I'm going to write my book. And then now you're done with the manuscript, or you can't seem to get yourself to have fresh ideas for the manuscript. Or you're done with the manuscript and no publisher seems to be excited about helping you. Now you're struggling. You see this struggling you. This is where you meet people who critique you. Yes. Because it's looking like we told her it was crazy and she will not hear. This is where even your inner critique comes for you. Like, I told you this was not going to work. I don't know why you allow them motivate you. Motivational speaker put you in trouble. Blah, blah, blah. People start saying things. You start feeling things. And this is one of the most dangerous places to turn back from. Because you are just one step away from your result. Just one step. The struggling you already knows the dream. So if you go back at this point, your biggest problem will not be an inability to dream. Your biggest problem will be an inability to trust yourself. Because if you turn back here, you will lose self integrity. If you lose integrity to other people, when you get better, you can always try to convince them. But when you don't have integrity to yourself, when you don't trust yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you feel like you untrustworthy person, when you look at yourself in the mirror and feel like you who can't follow through, it's harder. Because when we give you compliments, you don't hear it. You just strengthen your inner critique. You just told your inner critique that you are incapable, you are unworthy, and you will always self sabotage. And you have to start healing from that. So instead of struggling to heal, why don't you just push through one more time? Give yourself reasons to trust yourself. If you set an alarm and say, I'll wake up at 4 a.m., when the alarm rings, don't snooze it. Don't click snooze. Stand up. Let me give you a little expo I use, a little cheat code I use. When I want to change my sleep routine, or maybe I just got a new responsibility and I'm trying to shift my entire calendar, here's what I do. I set an alarm for the new routine. So right now, my present alarm is to wake me up between 3:55 in the morning and 4:30 in the morning. I set an alarm for 3:55. I set an alarm for 4:05. I know there will be snooze time, but I'm obviously not going to hit snooze. And if I hit snooze, I want to make sure I don't have an excuse because there's another alarm coming right on the back of this alarm, right? Now, my old routine might have been allowing me sleep at 12 a.m. or 2 a.m. But I can't sleep at 2 a.m., wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and be productive. So by the time my alarm wakes me up at 4 a.m. today or wakes me at 5 a.m. today, I will be more fatigued during the day. So the cheat is that I will not do what I would usually do, which is take a nap. I won't take that nap. I will allow my body experience the fatigue. By the time it's 8, 9, my body's feeling like, girl, I think we need to sleep. But my old routine and my old habit is somewhere feeling like, no, it's time to groove. Okay, don't sleep. Finally, I fight this whole thing and I sleep at 11. Tomorrow, my alarm wakes me at 4. or 5. I'm tired. I'll sleep at 10:30. The next day, 10. Another time, 9. Before you know it, my body will readjust. The problem with many of us is that we are sitting down here saying, no, I'm going to overcome the struggle, then I'm going to go back and dream. That's not how it works. You have to dream, you have to be intentional, then get to the struggle. You cannot go and sort the struggle and return to the dream. The moment you stop the struggle, you should enter result. That's the final circle. You enter result. Your results become evident to you. So you're a business person and you want to increase your finances. Your finances might not increase, but you notice more clients are beginning to reach out to you. While you might not be able to close the deal, more people are reaching out. So you know, oh, okay, so we had a visibility problem and we've resolved that. But why aren't we closing them? Then you realize, oh, okay, we have a closing problem. Then you take a class or you learn how to close clients better. You ask clients what they like about your business. You ask other clients to review your business. Then you know better. The result is that you are more confident. Confidence might not be evident to people outside your team, but you have results. Results that convince you that your dream is possible. Your dream of increasing your finances to a certain number in 6 months. So, what are you? What level are you in this circle? I want you to put it in the comment section. Where are you? Are you still in the emotional phase where you are weeping and you are sad and people seem to understand your confusion? Or you are at the dream phase where you are beginning to see possibilities? Or you are at the intentional work level where you're beginning to set yourself up to stay motivated, to stay consistent, and to have integrity. At your intentional work level, people are guessing. You know, you didn't tell them about your dream. A lot of people didn't know you were dreaming. But when you get to intentional, people are wondering, what's she doing? She's starting a new business. What? Her dressing is changing. This is happening. People are guessing. Then you get to the struggle level. It is at this struggle that you are tempted to give up. People are looking at you like, oh, we told you. I told you we didn't know what you were doing. But when you get to your results are visible. You are approved. You approve yourself. You applaud your journey. People start applauding you. Many of us are intimidated because we are judging our dream with someone's applause. We are still at the dream level or at the emotional level. You are still at the intentional work level, and you're looking at someone who already has results, and you're feeling like theirs is working and yours isn't. That's not true. Okay, so now we're going to the decision circle of influence. Again, you're in the middle. You're always the dot in the middle. Outside of you are your priorities. So again, go and use your hierarchy of priorities. Your hierarchy of priorities is a pyramid. It's a quick pyramid. The way things are important to you, if you have money, time, and energy, if you have limited money, time, and energy, how would you use it? That is the order in which you will write into your hierarchy of priorities. So you in the circle, in the dot, then you have your priorities outside of you, and then outside of your priority is your community, which is the next class you are going to watch. The people for your vision. This is a class we had from launching out with Audacity, and it was important that we bring that class to you because there are certain people who will influence your dreams. People have the capacity to influence your dreams. You have the capacity to influence the way you make decisions. If you say, oh, I will not be intentional, then you're going to have nice dreams, nice plans sitting in your diary, but you're never going to use them. Why? You are an influencer. You might not be able to influence the world, but you can influence you. You can influence how you think, you can influence how you move, you can act yourself into an emotion. I hope you know that. You can act yourself into an emotion. For example, you're just feeling like, today is just going. If you get up and play music, for example, you're going to feel more active. Or if you decide to take a 30 minutes jog or a 5 minutes jog, by the time you return, you're going to feel a bit more active. or you've been unable to sleep. If you take a long walk and get back, your body feels used enough to the point where it wants to rest a bit. At least you can act yourself into an emotion. So imagine if all you keep acting yourself into is depression, negativity, pessimism, what will happen? Imagine if all your priorities do not contribute to your dreams. How do you want to stay decisive? How do you want to stay consistent when you are surrounded with so many activities and none of them connect to where you want to be in the next 1 year, in the next 12 months, in the next 6 months? Some of you right now are so busy you can't be in this class. And if I ask you to write out all the things you're doing with your life, 70% of them do not affect you. There are possibly other people's projects you jumped on because you felt you had nothing to do with yourself, or other things you could have reduced time on, but you wouldn't because you don't care about your time. You don't know your time is valuable, that you will never have today again. Some of you is just your inability to say no. You just don't know how to say no. So you've said yes to 20,000 engagements, and now you don't have enough time to sleep, you don't have enough time to eat, you don't have enough time to learn, and as a result, you don't have enough time to grow. So you, your priorities, your community, and then anybody else. Anybody else. Instagram is anybody. Twitter is anybody. Your WhatsApp status is anybody a lot of times, especially if you're one of those people who have 1,000 contacts and above. Anybody. The problem many times is that we let anybody tell us how to take decision. We let people who don't know the genesis of our problems, the desires of our hearts, the work, the intentional work we've done, how long it took us to separate ourselves from that place where people say don't dream. You're not allowed to dream, to pushing ourselves into dreaming again and believing again. We let anybody come and tell us all of those is crap. Anybody. Anybody who doesn't pay our bills, anybody who doesn't know us, anybody who doesn't care about us, anybody who won't be sitting in the hospital if we were to have an accident for the next 3 months. Anybody. We let anybody tell us what to do. That doesn't work. If you're going to take decisions and you're going to stick with them, then you want to restrict the people in your community. So watch the next video. All right?